The Constitutional Court has ruled that the legislation governing the new administrative adjudication of road traffic offences system is in fact valid. The court overturned an order of the North Gauteng High Court which declared it invalid and unconstitutional. AARTO is the legislation that penalises drivers and operators of light vehicles who are guilty of traffic infringements through a system of demerit points which may lead to the suspension and cancellation of driving licences. Transport Department spokesperson Collen Msibi joins us now to explain what this means and what's next. Collen, good evening to you and welcome. Explain some of the legal considerations the Apex Court made in passing this judgment.
Good evening, Iman, and good evening to your viewers, and thanks for the opportunity. I think the issue why it had to go to the Constitutional Court, it was the issue of the concurrence of the road traffic regulation mandate. I think the issue was when it went to the High Court and where they ruled that it was unconstitutional, it was the fact that we had no business whatsoever as the national department, because issues of traffic authority and road traffic regulations, they happen at the provincial and municipal level. So for us, this specific ruling by the Constitutional Court, it is quite a victory for the road safety. In particular, as you know, there's so much carnage that is happening on our roads. So we believe that this is indeed going to bring much needed relief in terms of dealing with issues of road safety on our roads.
All right, so just to be really clear then on the languaging and the findings, we understand one of the concerns that was brought by AARTO, which was seeking a confirmation order of that High Court judgment you've just discussed, was that the powers of the municipalities to enforce road traffic law, within their jurisdiction would now be deferred to other state organs. The court rejected that. So what does this mean for who has the responsibility of enforcement?
In terms of the ruling, it is a concurrent competence. So in other words, they are also responsible for it. It's not just the national taking over. But when it comes to the adjudication of traffic infringements, that's when we have this agency which has been created by the AARTO Act, which has now, which is going to be proclaimed by the President as law since the judgment by the Constitutional Court. So basically, it is a concurrent function. You can't say it is only the municipalities and the provinces that are responsible for that, when in fact, the National Minister of Transport is responsible for the road traffic regulation in the country.
So what next then, Collen, for implementation? How practically would this now come to life?
Well, the next step now, it is indeed the proclamation of this particular act into law. And it has to be signed by the President into law, and then he's going to have to also give the date in terms of when it's going to come into law, and that will be gazetted as well. And thereafter, the AARTO, which is Road Traffic Infringement Agency, takes over in terms of the implementation itself. We've got to establish outlets in various municipalities in terms of where people can get information and pay for their traffic infringements. There has to be the training undertaken by the traffic officers in terms of how they should be explaining how the act works. When you get a traffic notification and when you are stopped, for instance, by the traffic officers, they should be able to explain to you what are your rights within the act, what is it that you should be able to do, and where, in the cases, for instance, where there is incentive in as far as paying for those the traffic offences, they should be able to explain that you are able to get 50% when you pay. Then there's going to be also the training of the back office staff who are issuing the courtesy letters and so forth. That kind of training needs to happen as part of the implementation plan. And then part of what we had said initially before we went to court, where it was found to be unconstitutional, we had said our implementation will start with about 69 municipalities where we are going to implement. And then we're going to move into about 144 of them after that. And then the demerit points comes right at the end, where we've done all that legwork, and then the demerit points would then come into play.
again, you know, it sounds like quite a complex task. There are a number of things, a number of dots that would have to be connected and levers that would have to be created for this to work as it is envisaged to work. Given our existing problems with, from a motorist perspective, the most basic of functions, issuing of licenses, you know, load shedding, problems, administrative problems, this is, you know, a separate and very complex task. Are you going to be able to accomplish it? I know that there's training that's going to happen, and there are a couple of steps that are going to go ahead. There's still going to be some level of piloting, one would imagine, in these 69 municipalities. But can you pull it off?
Well, let me say that initially when we were ready to implement, we had said that we give ourselves about 18 months to be able to execute all these tasks that I've just explained. The AARTO, the agency, is now reviewing the implementation plan. They should be able to come out and then pronounce in terms of what exactly would be the next step. But initially, we had given ourselves 18 months. I don't know if they're going to change that 18 months. So 18 months to 2 years, we should be able to pull it through.